Welcome to Pin Chalet's YouTube channel. This is SarahBeth with Pin Chalet, and today we are going to dive deep into the enchanting world of fountain pens with a special episode titled Exploring the World of Fountain Pens, an Aficionado's Collection. Whether you are a seasoned pin collector or if you're new to the realm of fountain pens, this video should give you a pretty good showcase of unique, coveted fountain pens from all around the world. We'll start with some modern masterpieces. And for these features, I picked some contemporary pen designs that have either innovative designs or they show off some technology that I find impressive. This is a recent arrival of the Sailor 2 fountain pen. Sailor has their pen designs basically in the bag. They have their 1911 and they have their Pro Gear, and most of the people who love Sailor, those are the pens they love. But that's not all they have. We got this new release from them just last week, and the 2 has an adjustable grip. And I don't see very many options to accommodate different types of grips, so I think that's a really fantastic way for them to really cover the bases for their different writing enthusiasts out there. I appreciate when I see something different come through. And next we're going to take a look at a pilot. This is the Vanishing Point. And while this is not a new design, this is just basically the most accepted, popular version of the retractable fountain pen that's on the market. Then we have this vacuum filler from Narwhal. It's the most entertaining filling system I've run across. If you haven't seen one in action, here you go. It's just fun to watch, and it's quick, and it worked quite well. Another design I find innovative is not a pin. This is the D. Charles Pin Wipe, and I just am really excited that somebody decided to keep a fountain pen / nib safe wipe or rag handy, but also looking nice, so I can keep it right there when I need it. Next up is the Magna Carta Mag 600. This is the pen model that introduced Magna Carta's gold flex nib that made everybody lose their mind because it felt like a vintage flex. So those are my modern masterpiece features. Now we're moving on to limited editions and exclusives. This is an exclusive version of Magna Carta's Sapphire Grand. This is Desert Oasis, and it features a blue demonstrator with a blue nib and trim. And this Desert Oasis version was released for Pin Chalet's 10th anniversary celebration, The Decade in the Desert, back in July 2023. This is one of the Pelican limited edition releases. Each year they do an Ink of the Year, and they also release a pen that matches it, and that one was their Golden Barrel year. We have a lot of people out there who love the Lamis, and they released new colors each year that are special editions. This is an exclusive limited edition that I really still love from years ago. It's by Natuno, and it has some beautiful details in the pin clip and on the center ring that I can't stop staring at this one when I pull it out. This is a very classic, timeless look, and it's really made of all great high-quality materials. I love having it in my pin collection. Now we're going to look at some unique craftsmanship and unique materials. This is the Conklin Endura Deco Crest, and they have this really beautiful cast metal overlay on top of that lets the resin kind of like shine through the overlay, and it is really, really well done. I really enjoy that one. This is the Waldman Zitra Vienna fountain pen, and the pin cap has this just stunning and detailed hand engraving that is so beautiful. All the Waldman pens are really meticulously crafted, and I very much appreciate that. This is just one example of the many releases from Waldman that have really exemplary craftsmanship. Okay, and I actually already featured a Sapphire Grand under the limited edition and exclusive section, but I needed to feature it again because this vintage cut glass look that they released a few years back really blew my mind when I saw it. I just loved the look, and I thought it was really impressive that they had come up with such a beautiful design. And I just mentioned Waldman had many opportunities to show off great craftsmanship and great techniques. This is their Tango Imagination fountain pen in teal. In addition to having such a beautiful combination of techniques that create this finish that looks like it's maybe dancing the tango, they always use really high-end materials like 925 solid sterling silver, platinum plated components. It all comes together into this really stunning, beautiful addition to your pen collection. Next, we're going to talk about material because there's different materials that different people enjoy when they're using their pens. As I just mentioned, Waldman is known for using a lot of 925 sterling silver and platinum plated components, but most of their pens, I would say probably all of their pens that I've seen, are metal. Kaweco, very popular, aluminum options. Pinlux, this is an example of a really high quality resin. And then we have a Ranga pin here as an example of ebonite. A lot of people are big fans of ebonite because it has a different feel on your hands and it helps them keep a good grip. Metal pins are typically heavier, although the aluminum has a lighter weight. There's just a lot of different elements behind the material of your pins. Now let's take a look at where these pins are coming from. These are some Italian pins, Stipula, Tibaldi, Miura. These are some German pins, Lamy, Diplomat. A lot of popular pins come from German manufacturers, the Coveco. Also the Waldmann pins that we've looked at so far, those are from a German manufacturer. A couple of popular Diplomat pins are the Arrow and the Traveler. They're known for having a really, really great stainless steel nib. The Waldmann pins are just always some of the most luxurious pins in the collection. Here you have a peek at a couple different, this is the Prezio and the Tuscany. Next we'll look at a couple pins made by Taiwan pin makers. This is an Opus 88 demonstrator and a TWSBI Eco. And that Opus 88 was a limited edition Very Perry, just in case you're searching for that somewhere. Next we'll look at a couple Japanese pin makers. This is a Pilot and a Sailor, and that was their Sailor 1911 Wicked Witch version and the Pilot Vanishing Point in matte black. And this is a Benyu. The Benyus are made in Armenia. They used to be made in Russia and the company moved their entire base of operations and staff, from my understanding. This pin is the Benyu Tattoo in yellow. It's an older release. It's the first pin that I ever added to my fine writing pin collection. Now we'll look at a couple American-made pins. These are Conklins. We checked out the Conklin Enduro Deco Crest earlier, and this is another pin that I like of theirs, the Conklin 1898 Misto fountain pin. This is the Jewel fountain pen made by Ferriswell Press, and they are a Canadian pen and ink maker. I would say they're probably more well known for their inks, but they recently released their very first full-size fountain pen, and it's this Jewel. And the most notable aspect of their pen designs is the detailed engravings in the section and the detail they put into their nibs. They're a lot of fun. They basically take branding to an entirely new level. Their packaging and all of the little details that they incorporate throughout their company, their brand is in everything. And the end result, long story short, is that they're really beautiful. They really cater to people who love beauty and fun and stories. So that's our Canadian representative here. This is a Narwhal. I showed off one of their vacuum fillers earlier. They are made in China. When they first became popular, they were very popular for a really, really easy to use and well-functioning piston filler, but they recently released their vacuum filler, it was first seen in their original Plus fountain pen release. And I have a lot of fun with it, and it seems that a lot of you have a ton of fun with it as well. They're also well-known and well-loved for their really smooth nib. They're in-house. Now we'll take a look at some Indian makers. This is two Magna Cartas and a Ranga. Magna Carta is probably most well-known lately for their sapphire ground that had that vintage cut glass look and the new flex nib on that Mag 600, but they have a lot of awesome options, including a number 8 size nib and a number 10 size nib. The Rangas are most well-known for their boutique level individualness and their ebonite options. I thought I'd wrap it up with a few personal recommendations and favorites. I really enjoy pocket pens. It could be because I have small hands or maybe because I'm always running here and there and everywhere, but I like pocket pens. This is one of my favorites. It's a Waldmann Voyager in rose gold. It has a cap that can screw on the back, so it makes this teensy tiny pocket pen feel like a regular size pen, similar to the Coveco Sport fountain pens, which I will freely admit introduced me to my love of pocket pens. The Coveco Sport is the most well-known and most accepted and most dependent on pocket pen out there. It's also one of my favorites, which is the perfect transition to jump right into the next one. This is the Coveco Lilliput. It's another Coveco pocket pen that is even smaller than their Coveco Sport that is probably the most popular. It's the best-selling of the pocket pens in my experience. The Lilliput also has a cap that screws onto the back for you, and that added length just makes it a more comfortable writing experience, although it is optional. I love the Coveco nibs. I've never had a problem with the Coveco nib on my personal experience. They're just great. And this particular Lilliput is fire blue with the optional Coveco Lilliput pin clip added. Now let's look at this right side by side with the Coveco Sport. This is one of the Coveco Sport collection releases in apricot pearl. And you'll notice again I added the optional pin clip. It's totally a preference thing. I tend to prefer a pin clip. Almost all of my Covecos have an optional pin clip added that I just keep on there all the time. but it's unnecessary, and I honestly don't know why I always have one, because I very, very rarely actually use the pin clip as a pin clip. Another personal preference is that I really do enjoy the aluminum version of the Sport. This is the Kaweco Ale Sport in ruby red, and it's definitely a favorite. Another favorite, and I've already shown it to you, is my Bennu Tattoo fountain pen. It's the tattoo in yellow, and it is a release from years ago. I do have other Bennu fountain pens. I have the Talisman 4-leaf clover version. Their Minima is a lot of fun. It's one of their smaller pens, and I do really like their Euphoria. That one's postable. The tattoo that I have here is postable, but their Minima isn't postable, so I like the Euphoria that it's postable. I just really love my Bennus. They're a lot of fun to write with. Another personal favorite is the Sapphire Grand. A lot of people love this pen. I am one of them. It's one of the first demonstrator fountain pens that I got attached to. I also really love the Magna Carta 600. They introduced their TrueFlex gold flex nib with this model. It's actually only available with the flex nib. And we have so many people who will insist that this modern day flex nib is the closest you can get to writing, to the feel of writing with a vintage flex nib. A couple very classic and standard favorites that I love are the Pelican 205. This is my limited edition golden barrel version, and my Sailor 1911 Slim Wicked Witch of the West version. And they're known to be one of the most affordable gold nibs you can get. So a lot of fans of the Sailor gold nib out there. If you're looking to add new pens to your collection or start your own collection, the first thing you should probably consider is the size of the pen. You can see here, if you hadn't already noticed, just in my pen collection, there's a lot of variance between the different sizes. Between the smallest pens and the biggest pens, you're going to see a really big difference, both in the length, and also you'll notice that there's a big difference in the width of the pens. And your preference will depend on your writing style, what sort of projects you're going to use your pens for, and also the size of your hand, as well as how you grip your pen. If you aren't sure where to start, we encourage you to call in and talk to customer care here at Pen Chalet. She can help you determine which types of pens might suit you the best. Another aspect or feature that you might want to consider is whether or not the pen is postable. Postable means that you can take the cap off and stick it on the back of the pen where it will stay securely. Some pens are designed to post, other pens will allow you to post, and other pens you cannot post. So if you just really want to post your pen, you'll want to pay attention to that, because some pens you cannot post the cap. And most of mine do post. This selection of pens that I pulled from my collection to feature for this video, I was just looking through real quick, and I actually don't see one here that does not post. So most of, I would say most pens do post. Some of them, like this one, are designed to post with a threaded end cap, so you can actually thread your cap back on the to post it threaded. But that's kind of a rare feature. Of all the postable pens I featured in this video, a couple of them had that feature. That Magna Carta Sapphire Grand has it, and this Lilliput has it. Oh, and also a third, the Waldman Voyager, also had a threaded post available. So keep that in mind when you're looking at new pens for your collection. It's interesting because some pens I really like posted, but some I don't. Like this one is a little bit, the balance is off for me because I think I have smaller hands when I have it posted, even though it is designed to post. But I think that's a really cool aspect of the Magna Carta Sapphire Grand, because that makes it a comfortable writer for people with different size hands. Another feature you want to pay attention to is demonstrators. These are all demonstrators. And demonstrator just means that you can see through the material they use to make the main body of the pen. And demonstrators can be a lot of fun because it's interesting and fun to see the ink move inside your pen. It's interesting and fun also to see the inner workings of the pen. They can also be a little bit distracting or even a little bit messy looking for some people. The type of filling system is an important aspect. This is a cartridge converter fountain pen, meaning you can use it with the converter that I just showed you, or you can remove the converter and pop in an ink cartridge. But there's various types of filling systems. The cartridge converter is probably the most common. A large majority of cartridge converter fountain pens use an international standard size cartridge and converter, but some have a proprietary that you can only use their brand. This is a cartridge converter fountain pen that can be accessed as a piston filler. So while you can open up the pen and remove the barrel to get to this converter, and you can remove it and pop in a cartridge if you'd like, or you can leave the barrel on and just take off the end cap and make this converter work for you just like a piston filler would. You just dip the nib in the ink and twist the piston knob, and the converter will fill up with ink just like a piston filler. So that is another type of version of the cartridge converter that some might call a piston filler. This Magna Carta Majestic fountain pen in Stormy Sea is a piston filler. So the barrel doesn't remove from the section. You just twist the back end of the pen. It works as your piston knob. And on a side note, look at that number 8 size nib. This has a beautiful nib. We already looked at the vacuum fill system earlier. And the other fill system that I didn't bring a pen to show in this video is an eyedropper. And with an eyedropper fountain pen, you just drop the ink right into the barrel of the pen using an eyedropper. Another important basic about fountain pens you'll want to know if you're starting your collection is nib sizes. So nib sizes, when I'm saying nib size, I'm talking about like ones they say, this is a number 6 nib, this is a number 8 nib. On the left here is a number 8 nib on that Majestic by Magna Carta. On the right is a number 6 nib, and that's the Nettuno 1911 exclusive. So the size of the nib doesn't actually have anything to do with the width or the line that you're going to put down on the paper. It's just the actual overall size of the nib. This is an 8, a 6, and a 5 all in a row here. So that is nib size. If you're looking for line width, that would be your nib width. And that's when you would designate whether you want an extra fine, a fine, a medium, a broad, a double broad, a stub, an italic, 1.9, or any of the specialty size nibs that are becoming more and more common now. All right, I think that's enough information for you for today. Thanks for joining me on this tour of some of my favorites in my pen collection. The world of fountain pens and luxury pens can be a completely entertaining, exquisite journey, whether you're drawn in by the historical aspect, the artisan craftsmanship, or just the simple luxury and beauty of these fine writing instruments. You can't deny that there is just an allure attached to a well-curated fountain pen collection. Hopefully this video inspires you to start your own collection or to expand the pen collection that you already have. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you get more videos from Pen Chalet. Share your thoughts and your own favorite pens in the comments below. And join us across all our social media platforms. Just find us at Pen Chalet. That way you can keep up with the community and our latest arrivals. And of course, shop your pens at penchalet.com.